Good morning, everyone. I'm David Perry with Hines, and on behalf of Hines, our partners APG and Dune, our construction manager, Suffolk Construction, we would like to welcome all of you and thank you for being here this morning. We're honored and grateful to have Governor Baker, Mayor Wu, Chairman Michaelwitz. We hope Senator Edwards is able to make it, and they've all agreed to share a few words with us this morning. So I'm going to kick things off, and then Sarah Hawkins, who is the CEO of the Hines U.S. East Region, will wrap things up from the podium. We'll have a brief ribbon-cutting ceremony, and then hopefully time for everybody to socialize and spend a little time learning more about the project this morning. So I'll give you as abbreviated a history as I possibly can, but there's lots here. So Hines had the good fortune of being selected by Tufts University back in 1997 to be its co-developer for this generational opportunity to complete the Commonwealth's and the city's vision for the redevelopment of South Station. After 22 years of planning and permitting, we started construction in early 2020. Among the many consequences of the pandemic was that we did not have the opportunity to enjoy our proper groundbreaking for this amazing project. So today is the day. Thank you for your patience. The project represents the culmination of more than 4 decades of planning and collaboration among city, state, and federal agencies to complete a world-class intermodal transportation center and to create an economic development project in the air rights above. The Air Rights Project is a showcase of environmentally responsible development, concentrating development where it can best be served by existing highway and public transportation infrastructure. Achieving a project of this scale and complexity requires a tremendous effort and collaboration among so many people. We're pleased to have this opportunity to recognize some of these people and to be in person to celebrate with you this morning. The redevelopment of South Station was originally conceived in the 1970s. Then Mayor Kevin White, Governor Michael Dukakis, and Transportation Secretary Fred Salvucci, along with the leadership of the Boston Redevelopment Authority, the Federal Railroad and Federal Transit Administrations all collaborated on a plan to create an intermodal transportation center, an innovative concept at the time, and to facilitate private development of the air rights above. All of the construction below and above us is supported by deep foundations that were installed between the tracks when the first phase of the redevelopment was completed in the 1980s. The project that we're now developing would not have been possible without that foresight. The space we're assembled in here will become an expansion of the bus terminal, which was originally constructed in the mid-1990s. This portion of the terminal was part of the original 1970s master plan, but there was neither the need for the additional capacity nor the funding to construct it. The result was that the bus station and the train stations have never been truly integrated. I've spent a lot of time in and around South Station over the years, and there's been more than one occasion when I've been standing outside the entrance to the bus terminal, and I've been asked by somebody arriving in Boston by bus for the first time, how do I find South Station train station? Well, when construction is complete, the new concourse will be connected to the existing bus concourse behind you, and there will be an escalator right behind me that will be easily identifiable, and it will enable all patrons of the bus terminal to go directly to the train station platforms below. And they'll go through this beautiful new gateway to the city, which is being built right behind us here. The project represents one of the largest transportation infrastructure projects under construction in Massachusetts, and it's built entirely with private funding. The bus terminal expansion will increase its capacity by 50%. The train station platform area will be transformed when complete in 2025 and provide a much better experience for rail passengers and a much more convenient and weather-protected pedestrian connections between bus, subway, and train. We closed on the acquisition of this property required to finance and undertake the project on Christmas Eve 2019. Many of you who experienced the sleep-deprived final push between Thanksgiving and Christmas to make that happen are here today. The complexity of the transaction, the number of different parties involved, the extraordinary number of permits, approvals, and legal agreements require the cooperation and shared purpose among many. I'd like to start by thanking Governor Baker and the leadership at MassDOT and the MBTA. Without their endorsement and their commitment to the mission, combined with the support and cooperation of former Mayor Walsh and the staff of the BPDA, none of this would have been possible. I'd like to recognize then Secretary of Transportation Pollock and Chairman Joe Aiello for their leadership and support, Scott Bosworth, Richard Henderson, Kurt Nikitas, and Jeff Mullen, who worked tirelessly with our development team to put all the pieces together in a way that would facilitate private funding of the project and ensure the safety of transit patrons and construction workers. We look forward to carrying out the ongoing development along with planning and execution for future phases with Mayor Wu, Chief Jennison, and the BPDA staff. Without the city's foresight to acquire the South Station property from bankrupt railroads in 1965 and then to collaborate with the MBTA on the property ownership structure and the redevelopment plan during the 1970s, none of this would have been possible. Lastly, I want to thank Amtrak, Suffolk Construction, and the building trades for their commitments to safety and excellence on the construction aspects of this project. While the design and construction complexity of a project of this scale above an operating multimodal transportation hub is self-evident, I encourage you to take in everything you see here today, and please take time to observe the tower construction going on behind us. I assure you, you will gain an even greater appreciation for the skill and dedication of the people building this project. Each of the Hines and Suffolk project team members can be identified with a blue lanyard, so please take advantage of the opportunity to approach them and ask any questions. Again, thank you for all being here to join us in this celebration today. We look forward to seeing you again at the grand opening. I'd now like to invite John Fish to come up and share a few words.
David, thank you for those very, very thoughtful comments. I'd like to begin by thanking Governor Baker for your leadership and the insight that you have developed and the impact you've had on the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Thank you. And Mayor Wu, I want to thank you for all that you do for the city of Boston and the vision that you've expressed to all of us. We're excited about that on a going forward basis. I'd also like to thank Representative Adam Bikowitz, who's the chair of House Ways and Means and has contributed to this community for over 13 years, has done a spectacular job. And we're looking forward to working with you as we work on the corner on this particular project itself. I'd also like to thank Senator Olivia Edwards, the first woman of color in the 1st District in Boston. And as a city councilor, now as senator, she will have a tremendous impact on the future of this community, and we very much look forward to working with you. I'd also like to thank all the other elected officials that are here with us this afternoon for all that you do for our community and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We wouldn't be who we are today if it wasn't for your tireless work and your tireless efforts, so thank you very much. I also want to thank our special guests and our team from Hines, especially Sarah Hawkins, Tommy Craig, and David Perry. Hines is one of the largest developers in the world, with a presence in over 285 countries and, 28 countries and over 285 cities. Hines is also an international developer that believes in Massachusetts, that has invested heavily in Boston, and is committed to our community and to improve the quality for everybody that lives in this environment. And we are thrilled to partner with the Hines team on this particular project. Congratulations to you and your organization. I would also like to acknowledge the Hines team on the ground. They often, people in the field and in the offices here on site, don't get the acknowledgement, but they, as David pointed out, are the ones that work tirelessly 7 days a week to make this all happen, and I want to give them a heartfelt reach out. Also, I'd like to thank the architects and the engineers. Cesar Pillay, a world-renowned architect selected by Hines. KHA, a first-class organization. Cosentini, and Maxell, all the creme de la creme needed to build the building of this complexity and this magnitude. I also want to thank the Suffolk team, Jeff Govea, Rick Pielli, in the balance of our organization. With them, nothing like this would have ever been able to happen. And Jeff, on a personal note, I want to say thank you for over the years of working with us on this particular development to make this a reality. Thank you very much. And lastly, and probably most importantly, I want to thank the unions. The Boston Building Trades by Brian Doherty. I want to thank the Carpenters Union and all the individual workers that come and show up each and every day. And most importantly, and often people forget, they showed up during COVID. When most people were home and were able to come to work, these workers came here to keep this project on schedule. And my hat's off to all the union workers, and I'd like to give them a round of applause. Proudly and humbly, the red and white blue signs can be seen throughout the city of Boston. Suffolk is a national company, but builds sophisticated projects, some of the most complex projects around. There's no doubt this is, by far, the most complex project we have built and undertaken in the last 40 years. Think about the preservation of an historic South Station train station building that was built in 1899 at the cost of $3.6 million. Developing into one of the most well-known transportation hub in the entire country. As I often say to people, winning isn't normal. Winning requires commitment, hard work, perseverance, collaboration, and winning is, most importantly, a team sport. So we're thankful to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the City of Boston, Hines, our trade partners, the workforce, with a common purpose and resolve to make anything possible. And winning is not just normal, it's inevitable when people put their minds to it and to work together. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. It's an honor to be here, and congratulations to the Commonwealth and the City of Boston. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. Let me just start, first of all, where John ended, by saying thank you to the workers who've been banging away here for the better part of the past 2 years, all the way through the pandemic, on a project that I think everybody would agree has theoretical underpinnings, but the actual act of doing it is dramatically more difficult and complicated. And that brings me to my major point I want to make today, is that public and private life often comes with a lot of risk. And David, I think the reason there were so many lawyers involved and so many agreements and licenses and permits associated with this is because over the course of the 30 or 40 years that this project has been around, part of the reason why it didn't get done was because it's enormously challenging. And with that comes all kinds of financial risk, operating risk, construction risk, name it. And I do remember the day when Stephanie Pollock reached out to our office and said, basically, OMG, Hines has a financing partner. Because this thing had always been sort of banging around in the back of everybody's mind as something that might actually happen. But there was always, frankly, a lot of doubt about whether or not anybody would be willing to take the chance that was associated with building this. And then the negotiation and the discussion about how we keep South Station operating, how we make it possible for people to get where they need to go, how we make possible that there will be significant state and transportation benefits that come from this, and how do we make sure the city gets the benefits that it's supposed to get out of this coming out the other end. And that took a long time. And yeah, it closed in a flurry at the end of 2019, but that was a 2 or 3 year conversation. And I do want to give Scott Bosworth and his folks an enormous amount of credit for getting here, because honestly, the creativity, imagination, and determination that he brought on behalf of our administration to this effort was really important to getting it done. And I certainly believe that coming out the other end of this will be a very significant statement project that everybody in 23, 4, and 5 will take great credit for. And I'm all in on that. But I want everybody to remember that it was a very difficult task to both frame this and then actually do the work associated with building it. And it is, in many respects, I mean, this is about as transit-oriented development as you can get. You take the look, I mean, in so many ways. But I also think at the end of the day, this is one of those projects where everybody basically had to trust each other to do what they said they were going to do and to live up to the commitments that they made, both the ones that were in writing and the ones that were personal and professional that came with it. And I'm actually kind of glad that we didn't do a groundbreaking on this and that we chose instead to have this conversation at this point in time when some of the more difficult and complicated groundwork that had to be done here has actually been done. Because there's a statement that's already been made about the value and the opportunity that's, I mean, in the end of the day, this is about $100 to $150 million reinvestment in South Station, separate and apart from the work that's associated with the building of the tower. And the bus terminal and the access that this is going to provide people who are involved in multimodal activity will be very significant. But this project required a whole bunch of people to be able to find a way to find common ground under very difficult and risky circumstances. And I'm glad we're having this now because it gave everybody a chance who was part of this to be able to prove that the aspirations that people brought to this were possible to deliver on. So again, congratulations to the folks in the hard hats and congratulations to the folks who are seated in front of me. This is quite an accomplishment, and I look forward as a private citizen to coming back and seeing what it looks like when it's all done. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm not wearing the right shoes to do the gov jump over the stage this morning. I'm excited, so thrilled to be here with everyone and to be receiving the baton to carry this forward for a vision of a world-class city that has a world-class transportation system. And I want to start by congratulating the governor, the secretary, and the MBTA for getting the hugely successful Orange Line project done on time and with great results. So thank you so much for all your work. So just to show how much this region and city are committed to advancing this vision of transportation that undergirds our economy, we're here the very next day to celebrate a huge step forward. This transportation center really will embody what we want people to feel about our city when they first set foot here and what the ethos of Boston is. A place that is welcoming, connected, and inspiring to all. For the first time, riders will be able to get right off the bus and hop onto the train or the subway and vice versa instead of taking that long journey with the rolling suitcase that many of us knew from our college days when we were taking the Fonwa bus to New York. This will be a chance for new housing, jobs, opportunity to really reflect where we want to go in the future. And so the project has already of such complexity and scale, spanning 4 decades, 6 mayors. I am challenging all of us. I heard from the Gov and John Fish that the phase 1 is set to be completed in 2025, so I'll do everything that I can to make sure this gets done in the first term, and so that challenge is ahead of all of us, and I want to thank everyone who has been putting so much work into the careful coordination, the safe work practices, and a vision of what Boston could be and what our region could be with this incredibly important piece of infrastructure at the heart of it. And on my job, I will do my job and introduce the next person, a great friend of mine, a leader for our Commonwealth, and someone who is intimately focused on connecting all the details for residents in this city and beyond, Chairman Aaron Michaelwitz.
Well, Mayor, it has nothing to do with the shoes about doing the governor jump. I think he's just a little too taller for the rest of us. But thank you for having me here today. It is such a pleasure and a great opportunity. And David, I know you gave a long history of how we got here to this day. So I guess it's not too bad that we had to wait 2 years to do a ribbon cutting. I guess, you know, it's still a great day and still a worthy moment to be celebrating. And so I'm thankful for being here. It's you know, this is such a transformative kind of conversation that we're having here about this area. And I know that we're continuing to have discussions on public transportation and what we need to do going forward. But a big part of that is infrastructure, and a big part of that is aesthetics and making sure that there's convenience for people to be able to know how to get to the interconnected side of each of our systems. And this project is going to really bring that together in a transformative way, something that we haven't seen here in South Station, you know, in my lifetime, and I know it's been talked about for quite some time, but all good things come to those who wait. And I think that we have, you know, we've waited enough time to see this project take shape and to see this type of development happen here. And I think that we're excited about the future of where this is going. So I want to congratulate the Hines team. I want to congratulate Suffolk Construction, the governor, MassDOT in particular, and the mayor's office, the mayor and the city of Boston for all the work that they've been doing to get us to this point today. And I wouldn't be a good local state rep if I didn't say thank you for the work that you've been doing within the community itself and making sure that it's, you know, when we first started talking about this project generations ago, no one was living down here in the Weather District or anything like that. So you couldn't really have those conversations back then. And so now we are having those conversations, and I appreciate the continued effort to make sure that while something this massive is being done, that is as least disruptive to the community as possible. So thank you for doing that. I wouldn't be doing my job as the state representative, never mind being a chair of Ways and Means. That's my first job, first and foremost. So thank you again for having me here today. Congratulations. And without any further ado, I want to introduce my partner in the legislature, someone who's been a great teammate for me over in the Senate, Senator Lydia Edwards.
Good morning, everyone, and yes, it's definitely a height thing. I had to take the stairs. Good morning to you all. I am beyond excited to be here today. You know, we have the historic moment, we have a historic coalition, we have a historic opportunity in front of us, and it only demonstrates that in Boston and Massachusetts, we do big things, but we do them best when we do them together. I want to thank so many of the workers, the union workers. There's a lot of folks here who are just doing their best, not only to make this city a great place to live, but to make sure that the future generations that come to live here, like I once did not so many years ago, come here and see the city for the welcoming beacon that it is, for immigrants, for people of all colors, for people from all backgrounds, speaking different languages. This, to me, is not just a tower, it's a beacon of our future and our call to meet the moment. It is transit-oriented. It is also green. It is also a moment for all of us to look at and say, together, look what we've done. Bipartisan, different perspectives, different ways, over decades. And to meet this moment, I only can be more grateful for the historic dear friend of mine, Michelle Wu, who is our historic mayor, and I want to give her a round of applause because of all of the things she's already leading on. So I'm sorry. Not only is she taking the baton, but she's amplifying and moving for so many of us in Boston to see this great future. So I just wanted again to say thank you for being here today. And I also, again, to Representative Michaelowicz, my dear friend in the Senate, we're going to get a lot more, in the House, we're going to get even more things done as we come back together before the end of the year, I am sure, to finish what we need to on an economic basis. Yay! So with that being said, I wanted to introduce our next speaker from the House. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. This is a day we have been waiting for a long time. It's so exciting to see all of you, and thank you for being here. It means a lot to us that you're here to celebrate this momentous occasion. This project at South Station represents so much that we at Hines are passionate about. Gerald Hines started Hines because he cared about cities. He cared about making cities better, more inclusive, more accessible, and more beautiful. He was there at the early visioning of this project, and I know he would be so proud of what is happening today. We take so much pride in the responsibility that you have invested in us to carry this out to the highest possible standard, and we thank you for your trust and your support over all of these years. We are here because we believe in Boston. We believe in the innovation, the creativity, the world-class institutions, and the amazing people in Boston. There are some economic headwinds, but we believe the tailwinds in this resilient city are even greater. This is a moment to celebrate, but it's also a moment to remind you that this is just the beginning. What we have underway is phase 1, and we look forward to partnering and working with all of you through the next phases of this incredible, mixed-use, transit-oriented, amazing development. Thank you for your support. I think I'm supposed to end by saying we're going to head this way for the official ribbon cutting. Thank you.